classrooms, and systems. So from mainstream to many streams, Sacredversity is one such path that brings the sacred back into the learning. It honors dreams, rituals, dance, ancestral wisdom, the body's knowing, and our deep connection to the unseen. Um, so today we are going to be talking about dances of universal peace. We have three dances of universal peace practitioners here. One is Sheetal Sanghvi, say hi. Um, he is a pilgrim at heart. Sheetal has spent his lifetime immersed in mystic wisdom, integral yoga, and sacred service. He founded Urban Ashram in Pune, a beloved community space for spiritual seekers, and has been part of a global movement, part of many global movements like Service Based, Move by Love, and Ecoversities. We have Yogesh today. Yogesh Suresh is a conscious community builder. Yogesh has hosted over 150 wellness-centered gatherings through gift culture. From raising VC funding at 19 to a life-changing Himalayan pilgrimage, now his path has weaved through sustainability, community, and alternate living experiments like the Caravan Project across India, visiting different eco-villages. We also have Manu. Um, Manu is a circle keeper and song carrier. Manu lives in a small community in Netherlands and returns to India in the winter. Through dances of universal peace, heart songs, and mantras, she holds sacred spaces for people to reconnect with their true selves and the oneness of all. Thank you for being here today. Um, so I would like to start off understanding what dances of universal peace is. For those newer to it, how would each of you describe the dances of universal peace in your own words, and what drew you to it? Anyone who feels called to go first.
If we keep waiting, I know no one's going to speak. So I'm just going to start. And just curious, how many hours do I have to talk about this? I'll share. 30
Yeah,
seconds?
I mean, yeah, maybe a minute, 30 seconds. It's not very rigid.
So dances of universal peace, it's very difficult to talk about something you love. In fact, it's something, the more intimate something becomes, the more difficult it is to talk about it. And that's why if the more people you speak in the dance of universal peace family, that many different expressions or interpretations you will have. For me, the way I think of it is it's a body prayer. It's a way to pray in a very embodied way through music, through movement, and also like there's a strong aspect of mindfulness that comes through, where silence sometimes becomes a very natural extension of the practice. Tears, I mean, cleansing. And I love the word cleansing, because if you look at the word cleansing, it's clean and sing. Just there are many, many ways, and I'm sure Yogesh, Manu have something to share, but it's an experience more than anything we can talk. So one of the best ways to probably tell you what it is would be to bring you an experience of it, which I hope we have a few minutes at some point today to do. But with that, I just wanted to open this and hand it over to Yogesh or Manu to share something from their own space.
Yeah, wow, cleansing, huh? One more thing that I learned today. That's quite, thank you for sharing that. I'd actually like, yeah, I think for me, it's really simple. It's something that dissolves our sense of self. In life, we go about, I am the center of my life. And each one of us are the center of our own lives. And that's the undeniable reality, that we are seeing like everything happen around us. And often we get caught up in the sense of self and get caught up in our own desires. And it's true, it's easy to say it, but sometimes it becomes really difficult to feel that sense of like collective self. And I think through all the sessions we've hosted, that's the one common thing, that people come and they feel like they can actually taste, and that's why it's fresh and they can taste the oneness. And I think it's really less of a dance and less of a singing practice, because I don't know how to do either. And yeah, I think so many people on this call are from a recent retreat, which we just did a few days ago in Bangalore. And I think it's that sense of oneness that pulls people back into the space again. Over to you, Manu.
Yeah, I always love it to hear. I love it to hear you guys speak about your experience from the dances, and I think for me it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And for me, the thing that touches me the most is that when I'm in the circle, when I'm dancing, it feels like I forget about time. I forget about space. I forget, like I almost forget like where I am, and like the troubles of life, like this whole worldly experience. It feels like I'm making a step closer to the divine, and and Yogesh just shared that you guys had a retreat for a few days, and for me, that's really magic. Like to be in a circle already for a few hours together, it's magic. But if you do this for a few days, it feels like the whole group. It's like it's taking off like to a next level, like really getting closer to the divine, knowing that that we are this divine energy. And for me, that's really the magic. When I first met the dancers of universal peace, I felt like I discovered a diamond, like really a diamond that everybody's looking for, but nobody really knows how to get it. And I felt like, wow, I have found it, and now I want to share it with many people. Yeah, very precious. Yeah.
That's really beautiful. Thank you. Sheetal, did you say we can do one practice today? Let's
Uh,
do that.
we've never done this online. At least I speak for myself. So being in the sacred madness of Sacredversities, we will attempt something. It won't be the whole way we do it. We'll have to adapt and modify. We thought we could attempt something, but we'll see how it goes. It'll be a joy. We could
Manu,
do at
do you
least.
Let's
want
do it.
to,
Yeah.
do you want to start something? So
Great thought.
amongst all of us, Manu has like the most beautiful voice, and it's really a blessing just to even listen to her. And I know we're already seeing a few smiles from those who've heard to her before. And just one request: if would the people who are watching this, if you can switch on your videos, if you are in a space where you could do that, because you typically we hold hands in a circle and we sing these songs, and we also move when we have eye contact, and that's really creates the atmosphere. But if you could switch on your videos, that would be a first step. But again, please feel free to either just listen in, feel free to sing along, but please do stay on mute if that's okay, so that we're not overlapping with each other's voices. And there'll probably be simple movements that I'll probably gesture you to do, and we could do that sitting itself, so you can get into a comfortable position. Um, and over to Manu for some beautiful sacred medicine songs.
Sheetal, maybe you can put the words in the chat so that the people can also sing. Yeah, it does. We want to take you to Hawaii, because the dances of universal peace, we practice songs from all different traditions from all over the world. And we thought this Hawaiian song would be perfect for now, for this moment. We are singing E Malama He Kaeao. Normally in the circle, when we are starting, we are repeating the words because we will always learn like new words. But for now, we will sing. E malama e kaeao. E malama e kaeao. E malama pono e kaeao. E malama e kaeao. E malama e kaeao. E malama pono e kaeao. Earth and sky, sea and stone, hold this land in sacred hands. Earth and sky, sea and stone, hold this land in sacred hands. E malama e kaeao. E malama e kaeao. E malama pono e kaeao. E malama e kaeao. E malama e kaeao. E malama pono e kaeao. Earth and sky. Earth and sky. Sea and stone. Oh, this land in sacred land.
Try the movements with me.
Earth and sky, sea and stone. Oh, this land in sacred land. E malama e kaeao. E malama e kaeao. E malama pono e kaeao. E malama e kaeao. E malama e kaeao. E malama pono e kaeao. Earth and sky, sea and stone, hold this land in sacred hands. Earth and sky, sea and stone, hold this land in sacred hands. One more time, all together, earth and sky. Earth and sky, sea and stone. Hold this land in sacred land. Earth and sky, sea and stone. Hold this land in sacred land.
Yay, that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of love from the group here. Yeah, thank you. So I wanted to ask this question to you, Yogesh. So, what do practices like these, do for a community, and how do they help people feel more connected and open with each other?
Um, yeah, thank you so much for for being with us today. Um, just also to cover what the dances are for someone who does not know the dances, we sing sacred phrases from different tribes and traditions across the world. It could be from like a Hawaiian tribe, it could be from Maori tribe or indigenous tribes, but also from other cultures and traditions such as Buddhism, Hinduism, Sufism, Christianity. And it's really taking these ancient wisdom and making it relevant in our daily life. But at the same time, we're also meeting people in the city. We're also getting off our mobile phones and we're really meeting people in person. We're also, there's something called partner dances where we make eye contact with strangers and we're still emoting, and we're really engaging in a prayer. We're also engaging in a somatic movement practice. There's also voice that's getting activated. So the dances of universal peace has so many layers, and therefore what we say is each one has a very subjective experience. For someone in a city, this could be a space where I've come to get out of isolation. I've come to meet people. Usually there's maybe somewhere between 30 to 60 people in a circle, and it's a space where energies become very clear. So maybe you come to make friends. Maybe for someone it's a space of sacred praying. Maybe this is a form of prayer that they like and that they feel embodied. But what it helps mainly is for people to be vulnerable. It's a safe space where and in a DUP circle, more often than not, you can really taste an authenticity where you know that no one's really wearing a mask, where slowly over the course of a session the facades come down, and by the end you can really trust the person with anything, and know that you are being held and heard to and acknowledged. And yeah, that's what's happened in various cities across the world. And from where I am in Bangalore, a cosmopolitan city where things are running constantly and people are seeking, over the last 2 years, we've had over 50, 60 sessions, and now there's a strong community that has built. So essentially, it's you being able to find your like-minded folks, and people have started living together, working together. They found love. They travel together to trips together. So it's really a sense of family, which I think because a lot of us are on this journey of our purpose and passion, sometimes maybe the sense of community and oneness is often not found because we're walking lonely paths of self-exploration, koji, and everything else that the Ecoversities network has also been trying to build. So yeah, but again, to each its own. You'll hear different versions of it. And yeah, if for anyone this is sounding weird or culty, we assure you that come for a session, and it's the felt experience is what speaks for it.
Yeah, thank you. Um, would you like to say a little bit more, Yogesh, about what happens in that relational field in between people? Um, you spoke about what could happen, but in that space when we're actually doing the dances and we're actually together, is there some words possibly to describe that what is happening in that invisible space?
So every DUP session is a unique session, but let me give you a few examples. We have over 1,200 dances from different spaces. Let's say if one day we were to open the idea of forgiveness in a dance, where we, let's say, have a dance from the Christian tradition about Kyrie eleison, which means may Lord have mercy. And so in this space where you're meeting strangers for the first time, we are both holding in our heart, but also sharing what does forgiveness mean for me, who do I want to forgive, or who do I seek forgiveness from, and really being able to work on your inner narrative, your inner self. But each person's doing that, but there's also a collective field that's doing that. Let's say in a dance called Ya Jamil, which means oh beautiful one, it's a partner dance where we face a partner And this is actually Manu's favorite dance, one of Manu's favorite dances, where we're seeing that person with fresh perspective for the very first time, like they were filled with beauty. And how often in a city or in spaces would you have that experience where for 15 minutes every person is giving you that space to be your most beautiful self, and no words are being spoken, Lakshmi. It's happening through eye contact, through body language, through a safe touch. And that's another thing. It's also a space where the feminine often feels really safe in a world where you have to be guarded and you have to constantly make sure that that beauty is not being grasped at or made to be captured. Here's a space where energies are allowed to expand a little bit more, a space where you can just be. But really it's a lot of energy work. And I think people are really able to connect at a nuanced level, because often with articulation, if my linguistic capability is not good, or if I have social anxiety, or if I'm an introvert, the ability to interact with someone external is much lesser, as opposed to in DUP, where you don't need any words, you don't need to come out of your bubble, you can stay where you are, and just through mere singing and dancing and being in a space, we're able to build a sort of community. And it's also the kind of themes we traverse with. Some days we work with dances that work with uncertainty. So you really you're taking it back to your life. Some days we're working on the small routines in your life. How do we fix it? Some days we're working on the masculine and the feminine. So it's a space for shamanic work, but also for ice breaking. But yeah, many things in one. And my reflection is that, yeah, speaking about DUP is a really difficult thing.
Yeah, thank you for articulating it. I think you did that really well. Yeah, these are very subtle, nuanced, unseen things. Manu, I wanted to ask you, so you call yourself a circle keeper. So as a circle keeper, how do you sense what a circle needs? Like when to open, when to anchor, when to soften? What guides you in the tending to the invisible threads of a gathering?
Wow, thank you for this beautiful question. It's actually yeah, it's a really beautiful one. Yeah, to me, the first thing that comes up is that it's always very important for me to feel like close to me, to feel centered, to be like not in a rushed like headspace, but to really be there in that moment. Because only from there I am able to tune into something bigger that is there. And to me, what is the beautiful thing about like being a dance leader, or being there when a singing circle is happening, is that it's not only me who is there. It feels like we are all together, like tapping into like an energy that is there. Sometimes I say words or I say things that I have not thought about before, but it's just arising in the moment. So I think it's up to me to be open to these words. And I remember in the past, I was thinking like, what are these words? And can I say this? And I started to question it. But actually, when I allowed myself to practice with this, I remember, I noticed that these words are coming for a reason. And sometimes I say words, I don't know why, but then afterwards people come to me, they say, Manu, wow, this was exactly what I needed to hear. Or then I feel like, oh, we need to do this dance in this moment. And then somehow this was exactly the dance that somebody needed at that moment, because it touched upon a theme that's alive for them in their life. So I think that's the beautiful thing about being human and being close to our intuition. That we allow this voice to be there, and that we are also able to listen to that voice and to act upon. Yeah, and that's where the magic can happen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautifully put. So you listen to your intuition, and sometimes you say things which you were not sure of, but landed just right. You let your intuition guide you. Thank you for sharing that. Um, so this question is for anyone who wants to go first, and the other two can add to it if you feel like. So DUP is for anyone and everyone, right? But often people feel very awkward and hesitant to dance in public. What about these practices help people to step out of their comfort zone and into the circle?
I'm loving your questions, Lakshmi. Thank you for those. It's really helping me introspect. Yes, I will not deny it's a challenge for people to do that, and we increasingly see those people. But isn't that the sign of our times that our biggest challenge today is loneliness, which becomes kind of like the incubator for so many other mental health issues. And I think it's an invitation. DOP is an invitation, I would say, more than anything else, to, come, dear friend. Here's an opportunity. And I'm beginning to recognize that we have many participants who come in, but they are comfortable at different levels of engagement. Because in DOP, and I think as Yogesh mentioned, there could be an element of looking people in the eye. There could be an element of holding hands. There could be an element of hugging. And I've seen sometimes people are scared. And I sometimes take the analogy of, if there's a scared kitten, you don't rush to her. You sit quietly and let the kitten come to you. How do you create a safe space at the level of embodiment is a very active practice. Safety begins, I feel, more as a felt sense rather than speaking about it. And one of my challenges is, we've all heard this, that 90% of communication is nonverbal. So how do you create a safe space without words? How do you create a safe space at the level of intention, even before people have come? So like, there's circles all over the world, and each circle has their own kind of ritual, I would say, to do their practice. So we would meet half an hour before, we would pray. We pray for everyone who's coming, even before they've reached. We've kind of, prayed in the space that, there's this beautiful thing about, can we be instruments of love, of healing, of peace? And I like to extend that, may the space also be an instrument of healing and peace. May the practice be an instrument. May I be, may us be, may we all be. So sometimes we come with challenges to the circle, some of which we are aware of, and sometimes we are not even aware of what's troubling us. May even that find some space to be held, and hopefully move towards healing. I have this much to say for now, and I'm curious what Manu or Yogesh would have.
Yeah, I notice that often I share with people in the DOP circle that I think it's kind of brave that they're there, because it's true, it's not easy for everybody, and sometimes I also like to acknowledge this, like, yeah, there's this voice in our head maybe saying like, what are we doing, like what are we dancing, or what are we, and I think this voice is often there in our lives. But the fact that it's there doesn't mean that we need to listen to it or take it too seriously. So sometimes I also invite people and notice when this voice is there and just let it be there. And especially in the beginning, when people are like joining for the first time, it can be that voice can be very strong. So I think it's a beautiful invitation to to let that voice be there and to have that questions there, but then still allow yourself to open up your heart and to be there. But it's brave. It's like actually it can be very deep inner work that we are doing, and I think for this we need to be brave. So I think that's also why maybe the dances of universal peace, it's not for everybody. It's for the people who feel ready to to face what is alive in them, or to face like what may come to the service. And then there's a beautiful fact that the community is there, that even though maybe you don't know that you like, if something is arising during the session, maybe you don't even know exactly what it is, but that it can be there, and that there will be people around you who also support you, that this can be there. And actually my experience is that when I meet people in the dances, when emotions are there, like if it's emotions of uncomfortableness, or if it's emotions of like I don't know, like fear or sadness or anger or irritation or like whatever it is. It's a beautiful mirror to meet this and to see this in the eyes of the other person, and to know that we are actually looking in the mirror because we all have all these emotions in us ourselves. So it's an interesting journey.
Yeah, and maybe just to add to that, thank you, Manu, for that beautiful way of putting it. Maybe the best way is to ask some of the people who are here, because I know personally that maybe except one or two of them, I think everyone has danced before. And in fact, some of the people here, and you know who you are, you've danced very recently for the first time. Maybe the first time was in the last 2 months. Lavanya, Nidhi, Rashmi, and some of you. And yeah, some of the others have been done since a long time. So would any of you, with the permission of the moderator, Lakshmi, if you want to unmute and maybe just share, how was it if you were to come to the circle for the first time and to sing and dance, and you know that awkwardness, or how your experience was? Anyone feeling brave enough to unmute? If not, I know Sharad or Rudresh would love to share how their first experience was.
Yeah, this is Rashmi here. I would love to share. I'm sorry, I'm sitting in an airport and I kind of want to like put on my video, but sorry for that. Yeah, I just want to say that I happened to just be at a DOP session, very unplanned, and yet totally it touched some part of me which I can't explain even today. I think it really stayed with me, and just that I think it was a very visceral experience to be in a circle, to do the dances and sing the songs with a group of people. And I think that left a huge impact in me. And yeah, like it's like you say that there's like a life before DUP and after. For me, that's totally true because I have a daughter who's 15-year-old, and I wanted to bring her to let her experience this amazing space, which I think words can't explain. It's really a practice of sacredness that is there, and yeah, I think it's amazing, this work.
Thank you. Oh, we got to see you also. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Uh, Lavanya, would you like to share? Because I'd also love to capture. No worries, Nidhi. Because also, like, sometimes it can be quite uncomfortable. Sometimes, there might be a lot of grief that'll come up. Sometimes it's like really you're not in the mood to celebrate or to love or to bless someone. You're probably just annoyed, and you're probably in a judgmental mode, for lack of a better word, and you're still not feeling. So there's a lot of space to sit with it. But the magic usually happens in the after the first session for me, in the absence of it. Even if things have not happened in the session, once you go back, things sit and marinate. And for some reason, the tunes are still in in your body. For example, we did this dance in the beginning, E Malama. Imagine if, like, yeah, it was okay, but like next day morning you're brushing your teeth and it's like na 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 na, na, and it's like there's something that's still holding you. So that is there. But if anyone else wants to share, before I take too much time, the Lakshmi will jump in. If anyone else wants to share their experience, feel free to. Rudresh, if you're speaking, you're on mute.
Go
Yeah,
Yes.
ahead, yeah.
I'd like to go ahead and just share before and after effect of DUP. I've been dancing for more than 10 sessions. Now I'm seeing most of the time, can I operate in the life with love and kindness? So this has profoundly impacted my life because every person I see, I'm looking for the opportunity. Can I make a beautiful relationship? The foundation is love and kindness. Initially, it was a lot of aggression, uncomfortable feelings. So, and recently I attended UP's retreat. So this has really changed, that's the effect of DUP that has done to me. So yeah, like this is what after effect of DUP, yeah, this is something that I wanted to share.
Thank you. Over to you, Lakshmi.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting them to also share their experiences. One
Before
question that's arising. So,
one,
did someone
just
want to? Yeah, go ahead.
something just came up as I think Manu was speaking about. Yes, there is fear, right? And isn't there fear for almost anything in life that feels it would require us to step into a version of ourselves that we are not yet? And I was just thinking of the word fear, and the word scared came up. So, what are we scared about? And if you look at the word sacred, sacred and scared have the same 6 letters. So, the very fact that you're scared is a beautiful invitation, if you wish to step into something sacred. And maybe Sacredversities is an invitation for people to expand, to step out of what scares them. The fear is never going to go away. We step towards light. We step towards love. And it's helpful to have an invitation. It's helpful to have a few people saying, hey, come, join the circle. We know how it feels where you're standing. Trust me, it's going to be nicer here if you just took that step. And until you do, we are waiting. We're waiting for you till you take that step. So that's where the sacred circle comes into play. And a word that's been very alive for me, I think, is a combination of a lot what was shared is vulnerability and courage. When they come together, it's called vulnerageous. Like, courage doesn't mean absence of fear. It means to feel your fear, to feel tender, to feel it all, and still say, I'm going to step. I'm going to take a tiny step. It's going in that. So just wanted to put that out before we shifted topics with your
No,
amazing question.
that's yeah, beautiful. Thank you for adding that. One question that's coming up from what you just shared is it sounds like these circles open up a lot of things for people. And I'm sure I'm wondering if all of the containment that is required for the different things that are coming up for people, is it usually done within the circle, or like what kind of so does that then change your plan for the activities that you started with? Like let's say you had a few things planned, this and this I'll do practice today. If there's like something that comes up in the group, then do you change according to that? Is the containment usually done within the circle? Do you find that you are connecting with people later on and helping them find that containment and being holding space for them?
I really like this question, Lakshmi, because I think it really depends on who you're asking. I have the privilege to be dancing also in different countries, because this practice is a practice that's like everywhere in the world, like many countries. This practice is there. But also in many countries, they have created a bit of their own way how to share this. And I have to say that from my experience with the dances, with the communities in India, they have found a really beautiful way to contain this also in the sessions itself. Like, for example, I know in the Bangalore family, they have two things. They apply two things that for me are very precious. Like, we have the dance, we have we have dance, we have been singing, and then after, the people are invited to sit down and to just sit with whatever there is arising, because sometimes it doesn't happen like during the dance, but sometimes you can only feel it like in the silence after. So this is like for things for yourself to come up. And often afterwards, or sometimes in the middle of the session, there's also the space is opening up for like a sharing session. And this is also a really beautiful way of giving people space to share what is alive, or what's happening inside them. And of course, we all have our own responsibility, that we take care of ourselves, and that it's our process, and that we are taking ourselves back home, and we are sitting and walking with the things that are alive. But because of the connectedness of the community, it's always easy to find or like somebody that's also dancing, or to find the people that are like the dance leaders and are holding space. Because yeah, we as dance leaders, we always share like, hey, if something is arising, or if there are questions, or like, please feel free to reach out. Yeah, so if sometimes people are facing challenging situations in their lives, and then also this place can be a place where they feel like, oh, I can be free, I can let everything be there. So there's always like a safe space, like people around that are there.
Yeah, you want to add something, Yogesh?
No, just I think the sensitivity of the space is so high, Lakshmi, that it's like, for example, with your partner, when you're really around with your partner for a long time, even the slightest body language is off, and you'll know. That's how a DUP circle is. It's like, what each person's going through almost. So if there's someone who needs support, it just happens. It's like the space is very malleable and ductile, where you're held naturally, But yeah, we do have these sharing circles at the ending where we're also able to share openly. And we also have safety members that we've kept in the DUP Bangalore community where you can reach out to, because the facilitators are in the center often. It can mean a lot for someone to step in the center and share. So you also have people in the community you can reach out to, but we also have a WhatsApp group that'll be alive for almost 2 weeks after a session, where once you process, the group is still a container because it's only dissolved 2 weeks later, where you can share in audio, video, voice note, and that's also really helped people. But most important, the process is to let it be. That like, facilitation is not about creating safe spaces and bubbles and then you pop people back into unsafe realities, because that will never really solve the larger issue. Is when we are able to uh, enter into those unsafe spaces with some sense of safety, and you're able to work with it also. So often, sometimes that cracks in the heart, like all the beautiful Rumi quotes on Instagram, you broke open my heart so the light may come in, right? So like, the little open cracks is where the magic happens, is where you go back into the world, and maybe things are not perfect, maybe you're getting triggered actually, or maybe you're learning to set boundaries now because you did that resolve. Maybe grief is coming out. So allowing to be okay with that process also, because you know that you're not alone, because you've seen 30 other people do it and 2 other people break down also, and you come back, and so that process is better. But one thing that we also do is we usually end with a metta dance. Whilst the design of the session is in such that we're like joyous, we open up space, but we also close it with a blessing, powerful love, and like full power, like hug. And there's like a lot of like you'll go back with enough sweet taste in your mouth, and like almost like this aura of like, okay, I've got this, So yeah.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you. Um, this one I want to ask to Sheetal. So you've long explored the intersection of music, movement, mystic wisdom, and more things like this. How have these dances become a living practice for you? Was there a particular moment when it felt, or were the different moments, or can you share about those moments where it felt like a direct doorway to the sacred?
I just love this question, about was there a turning point? And early on in my life, I could point to those, and it's becoming increasingly blurry. Um, I feel there have been so many influences, I would say. And the turning point just happens to be the one we name as the straw that broke the camel's back. So maybe my journey started with more of mystic poetry as a way of trying to make sense of life in my 20s. Like, there was just this moment where life just didn't make sense the way it was. And I think I started studying philosophy, and that just felt too wordy. It just became like, I like this word someone said, too many words is wordage or garbage, because it's like eating too much food, but you're not digesting it. And then poetry became like this thing where one page of poetry could give you like volumes of, information. And then I encountered people who sang mystic poetry. For people who are familiar with, Kabir, Kabir became a huge movement where there were festivals and, satsangs and retreats, and they still are, very big. And Kabir just became this poster boy for all mystic poets. And the singing was so transformative where, it becomes at a cellular level. The singing, it enters you. I don't know how, but it's so easy for me to feel the truth of that poetry at a cellular level when I'm singing it. And I think just as a natural progression, when I encountered dances of universal peace, what I discovered is they were singing mystic poetry, they were singing mystic chants, they were singing these beautiful forgotten languages from the world. And they were doing it with such graceful, simple movement that it went to an even deeper level. Like if this was homeopathic medicine, which is supposed to be acting very, very slowly and acting on so if earlier it was at a cellular level, it started probably going to an atomic level. And the beauty is, like with sound, is that it arises in silence, it abides in silence, and it dissolves into silence. But we're so focused on the sound that we miss the silence. And because of this practice, sometimes I feel very naturally, I have a deeper awareness and a deeper appreciation of the silence after, during, and now even before. And that's been a gift personally for me to be able to bring into my daily life. I think, as Yogesh was saying, DUP is a practice. Many people, anyone in this group who's ever gone to therapy, you go for the first time, but it's never the last time. It just keeps opening. It's like layers of an onion. So if someone gets inspired or attracted to the dance, then it's a practice. Then you keep coming and you keep unlayering and folding what is. I hope that answers your question. And
Yeah, it does. Thank you. Um, would you say you didn't directly answer this, but I'm gonna ask you again to see if there are any words to directly articulate this. How has this practice been a direct doorway to the sacred?
so there's this chant that is very close to my heart for the last 20 years. It's Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu. And very simply translated, it means may all beings be well, may all beings be happy. It's a very simple mantra. And you'll find this across many, many traditions. Just a simple idea. It's called dedication of merit. And I've been chanting this for 20 years. And even when I started chanting it, it would fill me up with joy. It's actually a very interesting question. When I started dancing to the same mantra, if earlier my experience was this much, it just became this much. And when you have more of something, it's easier to give. So even earlier, there is an aspect of I want to share my what makes me come alive. But they say when your cup is full and when it's over full, then it's no longer even I sharing. There's just sharing. There's a happening. There's a flowing. So I think a direct experience of this practice was, it's almost like being flooded with a certain experience of oneness, of peace, of love, something that I long for in my day-to-day life. And I have glimpses of, but I know like every time I step onto the practice floor, something shifts. It's no longer just me. There's something more there, and something takes over and something happens. And I keep showing up in full awe or wonder or curiosity. Today, what's going to happen? How will I be touched today? And how will this flow out of me today? So there's this very interesting thought about how can I be a grateful servant? How can I be really this person who wants to serve, but from a space of happiness? of contentment. And I feel like in this practice, I've found fulfillment and then overflowing. So it touches and then allows me to touch, if that makes sense. And as I said, to give you context historically, maybe the dances are very new to India as we know it. They've only come like around 3 years ago. So when I encountered them, from the very first moment, something moved in my heart. And I just knew I'm going to sign up for life. And yeah, I've just been dancing ever since. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm hearing that the embodiment of those words has definitely been like a wholesome experience of the sacred, like a whole at an atomic level, something like that you said.
I would say, okay, most of the people here are Indians, including Manu. There's this Kabir Doha where he says, Kabira kuआ एक है, पानी भरे अनेक, भांडे का ही भेद है, पानी सब में एक. So there's this understanding that, you go to a well to draw water. When you're thirsty, you just want the water. Now, everyone comes with a different container. Each container has a different form, shape, and depending on the context, I may name my water something else than the way you name your water. But the intent of that water is to quench you, is to calm you, is to give you something. So the dances have this gift of being able to give you a taste of that peace, no matter what name is there on the container, no matter what the name of the deity, or no matter what you call it in what language. It's water, it's holy water.
Yeah, thank you for saying it in so many different ways. Yeah. I wanted to see, you already shared one practice, the song that we did in the beginning. I wanted to see if there's any small practice from the DUP experience you would offer to the people here to stay connected to the sacred presence in their everyday lives. This is like we are in a world of overthinking and separation, right? So is there one little practice from DUP that you can share?
Maybe
Usually what we all, sorry,
go ahead.
please.
No, I felt, yeah, you put us on the spot. We didn't think about this. But yeah, if Yogesh, you have something in mind, go ahead. I was thinking otherwise a
No,
song.
we can also come back to it in some time if that feels okay.
I think Yogesh had something in mind.
Just we share the audio files of the dances that we've danced to. So every session we record those songs. So often, for us at least, it's been really therapeutic to even listen to that songs in traffic. We're the only one, like often I'm the only one singing loudly and really being grateful for the sun hitting my face, because that's what the dance is also talking about, and I've already danced it with people. So that has, honestly, it sounds like a very simple thing, but from the community's response, those audios also have helped people a lot once we come back. But I think the larger idea is that yeah, there's that things will happen. That one of the things that people get comfortable in a DUP in a community after a period of time is that, like, also because we have many sessions, right? Each session is different, so there is no expecting how previous session was again. So because of that, there's sort of this resilience that you build to whatever is to come, and you just try to notice. I think in generally your awareness to noticing and to being okay with the present moment, the capacity for that is built over a period of time. But there's also a beautiful practice called the planetary walks, which was started by the founder of the Dances of Universal Peace. His name was Murshid Sam. And what he did was he learned from a Zen master, but also a Sufi teacher, but also a Hindu guide. And he created something called planetary walks, where each walk embodies the energy of planets. So there's the sun, moon, Venus, Saturn, Jupiter, Mercury. And these walks you can do just by yourself, just walking alone in the room. Each walk has a breath practice, So for example, for the sun would be you in through the right nostril and out through both. Your chest is out, chin is up, and you're radiating energy outward, like you were the king or queen or royalty of the space. So often, if you're in a space where you're feeling anxious, or you're feeling very inferior, underconfident, you can just do the breath attunement and walk and really call upon that sort of archetype, so to say. Sometimes we do a Venusian walk, which is all about beauty and holding your energy to yourself, which might be very relevant in certain spaces. So there's a few things that I feel like sometimes people can take back into their lives.
Oh, that's beautiful. Embodying the planets. Thank you for sharing that. So this, from a Sacredversities lens, learning is an embodied, initiatory, and sacred process. It's a remembering of what modernity often numbs. In what ways have the dances of universal peace become sacred learning for you beyond just the practice? How have they reshaped your relationship to the unseen, to the community, and yourself? I know this has been answered previously, but let's see if something else comes out. Yeah. Anyone that would like to go first?
Always happens when you that choice. Very rarely people pick the first.
I'm also inviting the silence, as you said. Yeah.
That's nice. What I was drawn to is this beautiful idea of what is embodied, initiatory, and also ancient. And I'll tell you something that was deeply moving for me. The first time I heard it was a language called Aramaic, and it was part of the dances repertoire. And it was a language of Jesus Christ in his times. And that when I first heard that language, it really shook me. It moved me to tears just hearing that language. And for the first time, I realized that Jesus probably didn't speak English. There was no English then. The Bible was written much later and then translated into English later. So it's just like, we think Hindi is the language of India, but there were ancient languages like Tamil, Sanskrit have been the oldest languages of India. Just something so raw and real about reconnecting to the root. I think in a culture obsessed with fruit and instant fruit, that is, how may we take a journey back into the root and just touch base with that and feel its power, and I think be recharged by that rootedness. So for me, embodied and rooted go very close, hand in hand. For me, this is just one specific example of one of those many influences around the dances, and if I just read that language somewhere or just heard of it, it would not have had such an impact as when we sang it in a collective, we chanted it, we moved to it. So yeah, that was one experience that I wanted to share.
Yeah, so the roots of these dances, they are also lying in the Sufi tradition. And one of the things that we are practicing in the Dance of Universal Peace is zikr. And the zikr is the literal translation of zikr is like to remember. And for me, this is such a beautiful thing that the dances have offered me, because it feels like when we are dancing, or at least let me speak for me, when I am dancing, I feel that I get closer to the divine. Like it's really like yeah, I'm getting closer there. But I also know that when I step out of the circle and when life is happening, I also know that every time again I forget about my as a human being in this experience. I also every time I forget, because work is happening, family life is happening, all the things are happening. So I forget a bit about my, like, the magic of being human. And the zikr, like it's like to remember. So every time I think it's my biggest prayer, like please help me to remember every time again, because I know I'm forgetting every time, but please, like, remember me. Yeah, help me to remember to, yeah, to again be close to that oneness. So for me, remembering and the zikr is definitely, yeah, when we talk about the sacredness, and maybe some of you have already experienced, we have, of course, we have many dances in different traditions, and there's the Sufi dances, but sometimes we have the zikr nights. So it means there's like a full evening of only like Sufi inspired dances, and it feels like one Sufi dance is already so powerful, but when you have like one after the other, after the other, after the other, it's like every time we are getting to a deeper layer of this remembering. Yeah.
Thank you, Manu and Sheetal. Um, so what I'm understanding is these dances hold diverse wisdom lineages. I'm wondering how do you ensure that they are practiced with reverence and integrity beyond moving beyond cultural appropriation into collective honoring?
I would love to give that a first shot because I've been very passionate about this within the dances community. I would like to acknowledge the elephant in the room, that the dances were actually started when a Sufi saint from India went to America, and during the 1960s and 70s, with the opening of consciousness, these dances were born. So a lot of credit to the West in the way that they were able to shake things up, like from organized religion to having these channels for uh, God is like you go through different other human beings to being able to embody his energy directly through dance, through music, through movement. So I think that was very powerful. And now it's also coming back to the East. So while it's coming back, it can definitely seem like a version of colonization. As an Indian, to hear a stylized guitar kirtan version of the same Shiva song that you've been singing in your temples, but now there's a white dude who's saying it's Shiva, and like so I really experienced this. Also, new dances come with that. But I think the best thing about the dances for me is just the purity of intention. Like it's like, when avalanche comes and like the trees just get covered in the snow. It's like that's the love that really emanates from these leaders. That all the that you're doing intellectually, all the typical judgments and the analysis really gets washed out of the window because you really know that this person's here spreading peace and joy. And while things may seem if you were to critically think about them in that way, they're probably not. So I think that's been an interesting realization for me. But I guess one of the things about the dances is that once you go through the hierarchy of also becoming a leader, first there's a leader in training, and there's a certified leader, and then a mentor, and so on. Along the way, you can also birth your own dance when it comes. So in that way, there is no gatekeeper, there is no only specific people. If you are free to take any inspiration from any tradition and to create that energy portal. And if that portal is real, it's alive, many other dance leaders across the world will pick it up. So for example, when me, Sheetal, or Manu go for the next camp, there'll probably be around 50, 60 dances. What will stay in our heart is those few powerful ones that really seeped in. And so that really becomes the test and measure beyond all of the culture. But what we've been trying to do is we have PDF documents where we ensure that each culture is represented to the best of their ability. We also do our own research, and we're always coming with a humble attitude that, hey, we're not pretending to be experts in this. Our intention is not to spice up with like various traditions, but to really dissolve the division between these messages. Is hopefully in one session when you sing the names of Shiva, Allah, Jesus, Mary, Krishna, Ram, and Buddha, and you're like, okay, I get it. The Venn diagram in between is the same, and that really helps us cross to some of these appropriation things. But they do come up once in a while, because some words are important, like and when those words are said in a wrong way or in a right way, it triggers a few other people and it feels like their customs are not being held. But again, it's a paradox, and I'd like to close with what our mentor, who's a Colombian shaman called Arjun, Jorge Calero, and he told me a Sufi story, and I'll probably say it in 30 seconds. There's this not so with the community Sufi practitioner who was living in an island and is doing his own Sufi practices. And this one of these Sufi masters went to him and he was singing all sorts of wrong mantras. So this person really taught him the right pronunciation. And on the way, while coming back in the boat, this person looked back, and that person who was in the island was gliding over the water and coming. And this person like, what? And he's like, hey, brother, hey, can you please tell me the right mantra again? I forgot it. And this person was just stunned. This person was like, he's like, I don't think you need the mantras. You are already embodying this. So maybe it's an invitation to ourselves. What is getting triggered with cultural appropriation? What is getting triggered with using the right or the wrong pronunciation of the right words? But yeah, I think the purity of the heart is the main thing that sticks.
Thank you. Thank you. It's beautifully put and appropriately answered also. Thank you. Did anyone else want to add something to this in terms of reverence? How do you honor? How is that unity held, or do you acknowledge it with words during the circle, during the practice?
I'm just going to reflect back on my own journey. There was a time when I started learning these very beautiful, intricate Sanskrit prayers in a yoga ashram. And I dread that if I had recorded myself then, the way I chanted those same things, it was grammatically terrible. I mean, like, if you really think about it, if another person was to come, they may have said, what are you doing? You should not do it. But just the fact that I stuck to my practice, I've been doing it over 20 years, it now lives in me. It has a sweetness of its own. And today, when I do say my prayers, I am closer to what it needs to be. But I needed a 20-year journey. And if I have to really say, I mean, I'm grateful for the story, Yogesh. I felt the sweetness of these prayers the most when I just started them, than when I do so now. And it's almost like I'm thinking, if you've ever seen kids pray, they do it with so much innocence, joy, or even like naughtiness. And there's a beauty that comes through it. Versus I could be listening to a Pandit who's been doing this for decades, but it doesn't stir my soul. I'd rather have someone stir my soul than satisfy my mind. That is critical. And it's a very childlike practice. I won't say it's a childish practice. It's a very childlike, very innocent. It's really inviting you to taste it for yourself. And it's, you get good at anything only by doing it, not by being critical about it. So I think we hold a safe space. And regarding cultural appropriation, we have many, many systems in place where we're constantly checking with the elders of that tradition to say, hey, please tell us if we are making a mistake. It's not coming from a space of intent. It's coming from a space of ignorance. So please enlighten us. We want to do this better. We want to take your message further. Please help us. So I think there is a high degree of humility in the practice that I want to acknowledge. But yeah, thank you for the question. Manu hasn't spoken in a while.
Yeah. Would you like to add something, Manu?
Well, for me, there are two things popping up, but they both have been said. For me, the most important thing is that it's coming from a pure place, like from the purity of the heart. I think that's the most important thing. And yeah, actually, I think that's the most important thing. And I also think that, like, I think everybody's able to feel this. you know when somebody's sharing from something that's coming from deep within, or when somebody is sharing like coming from the mind. It's a different thing, because it's in the transmission that we as dance leaders have. We can take people only maybe only as far as we ourselves can go. So I think it's most important that we keep on checking, like, where is it coming from. And yeah, as long as it's coming from a pure authentic place, I think mistakes are okay. I think this is one of the things that we are also learning in the dances, that maybe it's not about like the perfection, but it's about like coming from this pure and this real place. And that's the thing we are spreading in the groups that we are sharing with.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you. So sacred ecoversities, and from there, from main different many streams that ecoversities invites us all to create. Sacred versities is one of them, and this is in one way dance versity. So if someone listening here today wants to create their own sacred versity, uh, gatherings for sacred learning and remembering, what is one simple advice you would offer to them, and where can one begin doing this? Maybe, yeah, if Manu wants to start, and Sheetal, then Yogesh.
And Lakshmi, if I understand correctly, this question is it's not about the dances, right? It's if people want to bring something to the world, right? In the wider, is it true?
Yeah. So what I'm saying,
Yeah.
yeah, basically, we're saying this is dance versity. Dances of universal peace is by meaning through dance we are teaching um, and learning at the same time how to connect with the sacred. It's part. I'm calling. I'm just sort of like giving it some names. If someone wanted to start their own versity with something that helps them feel connected to the sacred, a gathering for sacred learning and remembering, um, how can one do this? Where should they begin?
I think when they begin, maybe the most important thing is to just go, to just do it. Because when you feel the urge that you have you have your gift to share with the world, then maybe you are already ready. And maybe then there are still a few voices in your head saying like, yeah, but am I good enough, or can I really do this? But if you tap into this energy of your wish to bring this to the world, then go for it. And I think all of us as human beings, we have our different ways of sharing and the different things we are bringing to this world. But it all begins by stepping forward, by making letting yourself be known. Like this is what I want to share with the world. So I think the first thing is to to be brave and to just like to do it. And maybe that's not so practical or not so, but that's really the first thing. And I think to find the sangha, to find the community, and to have friends you can share it with. I think it's important because we don't have to share alone. We can do this all together. And I think this is one of the things that also the Dances of Universal Peace has taught me, that like I happen to be I happen to have a guitar, and I happen to be able to play the guitar, but maybe Yogesh didn't for up until last year. So then Yogesh and I have been traveling in India and sharing the dances also, and then we were a team, and Yogesh is very well with like holding spaces for the groups, and then like we complement each other, like we both bring something, and then we like together we and then we need the musicians, and then we need like even more like a drum. And so it's we don't have to do it ourselves. We can like ask for help and do it together, and we can empower each other instead of creating challenges for each other. Just say yes, we're gonna do it, and empower each other.
Lovely. Yeah, just go for it. And yeah, you don't have to do it alone.
Yes.
Um, Yeah, would Yogesh like to add something to this?
Not much. I think same thing. Like team. Like make sure you have a team. You don't have to do it alone. Maybe also clarify your intention. There's a lot of wounded healer archetypes that's like I think filling the world. Where it's coming from a really beautiful space. We start from our own suffering, but it'd be nice to know that the facilitator in the center has some embodiment of that modality that day. You know, because people are also coming with that expectation when you offer something, and you usually offer from a full cup, and so sometimes it can be quite difficult if the embodiment is lacking in that modality, you know. Like I say, if you know how to cook biryani, then you can teach how biryani, so it's okay if you don't know any other thing in life also, but at least your modality, what you're doing that day, it'd be nice for you to really build slowly expertise on it as well. I think that's the one main thing. And in the real world, yeah, like have a WhatsApp group, take some videos, have an Instagram page, make sure you're not forgetting, not everything is floaty, not everything the archangels will take care of. Some things are operational, you know. Make sure you have some systems and processes, and it's a nice balance between the mind, the heart, and the body, where because to also know that sometimes for the sacred spaces to emerge, our competition, so to say, is also the organized world. And the organized world is really good at one thing, which is organization, you know. So you'll see there's so much happening there, and be good for this spaces to also have a schedule, maybe put out for the next 3 months what you're going to do, so that people can bookmark their calendar, maybe to set some rhythms and some processes that allow people to access you more easily in the real world. And for the gift, for the dances in Bangalore, we do it in the gift culture, and most spaces also is done in the gift culture. And I personally feel that for sacred spaces, it'd be lovely to work in a gift culture. It also reduces the barrier. It also clarifies for yourself why you're doing this, and also if the practice is powerful, it'll stick, and you can definitely monetize it later. And it's a great way of getting feedback from the universe and from the people if it's something that's working, than advertising it aggressively.
Thank you. Yeah, it has to come from a lived experience. That's a very big takeaway for me, at least. Thank you. Sheetal, you want to add something?
Now, one thing I've realized is, I think something that a word came up many times is remember. I think what is the original problem is that we've got disconnected from something larger. We feel separate. We feel alone. I feel alone. And it's when I have an experience of oneness is when something opens up in my mind and heart, and life feels good again. And then something happens and I'm disconnected again. So the very word remember, I love the etymology of it, which if you heard the word dismember, if anyone's ever in an accident and someone loses a toe or a finger or an arm, it's said you've dismembered something. And then you remember, you reconnect. So just like that, many times I feel we are like waves in an ocean who've forgotten that we are at source, we are the ocean. And we are in this play where we think we are the wave. And then we have all the drama and the trauma around what a wave experiences. So what would it take to be a wave simultaneously remembering that you're also the ocean? So for me, any practice that helps you remember, any practice that helps you remember, it could be a yoga practice, a meditation practice, it could be a dance practice, it could be going in nature, anything that's resonant in you and that helps you remember is something you build your Sacredversity around. Because I feel it should be a place of practice. It should be a place of practice, 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 practice. And there's a beautiful quote from a book called Illusions, which is about, I would say it's like a Sacredversity, the book itself. And the book talks about this dialogue between a teacher and student. And the student says, I've learned so much. What can I go out and do? What can I go out and do? And he says, you go out and teach, but you go and teach that which you most need to learn. Or you go out and share that which you most need to remember. It's about you sharing something that's deeply resonant, something that you know has value, and that you know needs a constant repetition or remembrance. Because the nature somehow of Maya, or the world as it is it's designed to help you forget or to distract you. And maybe the spiritual practice is about coming back, coming back, coming back. So yeah, whatever helps you come back. And joyfully, that's a treat.
Did someone else say something? If not, I wanted to open up the questions. Like if any of the people here listening want to ask something. Rudresh, you said you have something that you want to ask. Go ahead, go ahead.
It was really lovely experience listening to you people. Uh, and Sheetal, it was really, really wonderful. It was very poetic for me, like to listen to that. And thanks for Yogesh, Manu, and Lakshmi for hosting this and sharing the wisdom. It's very beautiful. And I've been also thinking about hosting, becoming DUP leader. That desire is growing within me. And I always have this dream that one day the entire universe should dance together. One moment, every human in the world dances, and that's the moment, the real wonder. So that's a wish that like. But coming back to the desire of becoming DUP leader, but one question that I want to ask is, how do you go to the center of the circle selflessly? It's when somebody leads, it's coming out of my personal needs and worries. I need to go to the center with an intention to offer love and peace to the world. So it's very challenging. Sometimes, yes, sometimes it happens in a flow because the energy is so contagious. But sometimes there can be challenge. I sense that already, that it can be difficult for me because I'm very rooted in my personal needs and my personal world. But how do I really go and be a selfless person and deliver the intention to the fullest and purest form? Yeah, that's my question.
Yogesh, do you want to try answering that?
Yeah, Rudresh is always one of the most honest people I've come across. So thank you. And I think just honesty, what I personally do is and I've told this to Manu many times, is I struggle with this all the time. I'm constantly like, I like it, I like being in the center. And I'm like, should I not like it? Like how much of, what does it truly mean to be selfless? And it's a whole rabbit hole. What I do is I share it with the group also. Like I'm just honest, I am transparent. Like what's happening in my heart, there is no pretense that I am higher than thou, or this is like a moral high ground. I am sharing who I am honestly. So maybe just being your honest self whilst being in the center, I think is opens up. When a facilitator can be honest and vulnerable, then the whole group becomes exponentially more vulnerable. So I feel like that, and it'll take time. It's not gonna happen. There is no homework done, and then you step into the center as like, wow, it's like maybe the 10th time it's easier to efface yourself than the first few times. And that's why I love DUP the most. And maybe even this is something I'd like to cover is because there's a lineage, Lakshmi and Rudresh. There's a lineage, and I've never believed in lineages. And I've been a very skeptical, rational, analytical person, and doesn't come naturally to me. But that's why DUP bowled me over. It's like you can really feel the river of lineage. You can feel that you are not that person who's in the center that much, because there's a stream that you're tapping into, and that's the mystical bit of it. But when that happens, it's like there's so much light that's trying to come out that all the darkness is illuminated. Like, and people will like, after the circle, people like, wow, I really loved it. And you are like, that was just 30% of the light, 70% was like I stopped because of my own self. So it's a great mirror, Rudresh. It's a great mirror. And just that itself is powerful for you. It's like the mirror's right there. And just awareness of it is more than enough than judging it and than being harsh on yourself. And honesty, I think, is the best medicine. So you're very welcome to lead. Let me know when in Bangalore.
Manu, go ahead. Yeah,
Yeah,
if
I
you
wanted
wanted
to
to
add one
add.
more thing because I love this question, Rudresh, and I think the fact that you're aware of this question, it's already, well, maybe not enough, but it's already like the biggest thing. It's about the awareness, and yeah, and I fully agree with Yogesh. When you're in the middle of the center, like you are there and you are guided, and you don't have to worry about this. Yeah, but like in the preparation before and like in all these, it's lovely that this question is coming up, and awareness is the most important thing. Yeah.
I also loved the question, and I love to play with words. So you use the word selfless, and I am just realizing more and more this idea of selfless, egoless. It's such a lofty ideal, and I'll never feel good enough. And it's a perfect way to keep me feeling, to berate myself. And as I wrote down your word, selfless, I said, an easier approach could be to less self. Every time I step in, can I be lesser? This idea of effacing that I think Yogesh mentioned. Little, 1 degree. Can I wash myself a little of this? And another word that came up is, perfection. So when we say selfless, it suddenly feels like this very perfectionist ideal, it's an absolute. Whereas progress, to step into the circle and say, I'm here with all my flaw, and I'm going to invite light. And it's a light that washes away, the flaw. It's been my experience, and it is true that from what space are you stepping in? If you step in with the intent that yes, I am this person with all my strengths and my weaknesses, but I want to move in the direction of light. I think that's the aspiration, and that's what will shine through you. So more power to you.
Thank
I
you so much
find
for the wonderful answer. Sorry. Thank you.
No,
Means
go
a lot.
ahead, go ahead.
No, just wanted to thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, so I wanted to ask the practitioners here, how can anyone who's watching here or later the YouTube video experience DUP for themselves, or even perhaps learn to be a practitioner themselves?
So I'd like to answer. My name is Ruchi. I'm a new practitioner. I have just recently started doing DUP with Sheetal in Pune. And my experience is that the first time I was dancing in the DUP, I've done it long back in Auroville, but that was a faint memory. And when I recently, 2 months back, had the chance to do it in Pune, I just felt this is what I'm looking for. This is my calling. I mean, I really feel, because when I heard all of y'all today, it's actually the sacredness. It's the divinity that comes through these dances, which is what keeps me here. And I really wish to. Every time I'm dancing, I feel so much of joy that I want to share it with people. And so I'll talk to my friends about it, that this is how we've been doing dances, etc.
I think she got dropped off. Uh, it's okay. But
Yeah,
yeah,
maybe
thanks.
just a quick answer. Also
Mm-hmm.
sensing time.
Yeah.
Just that there's a website called the Dances of Universal Peace.org. And you can find a circle that's happening anywhere across the world. But mainly any person, any one of us, you could reach out, and there are mentors across the world. And there's an annual subscription member fee that you can pay and be a part of a leaders guild and become a dance leader in training. So there's an official process. You get access to all the resources and a lot of other things. But the larger thing is just start with a circle, like how Ruchi maybe just did in Pune or Rudresh is going to do in Bangalore. There's going to be an existing session. And in those sessions, wherever you experience, just request that dance leader if they can start. And based on the level of embodiment that you are at or based on the circumstances, maybe they can just start leading. But there's a proper guidance and mentorship and there's a whole, but it's a one-on-one transmission system. So it usually goes through people to people. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Ruchi, did you want to finish your thought? I am aware of the time, but if there's anything that you wanted to say and finish your thought, there's some space.
Yeah, just this that this is a absolute sacred um modality. It's really beautiful, and I feel if there is a calling, I think we should just go ahead and do this. We shouldn't not analyze too much about and just do as the heart says. So thank you. I got very inspired by attending the session today. Thank you, everyone.
Beautiful. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, panelists, for being here, giving us your time and wisdom and experiences. Thank you, people who listened in.
We need a minute or two, Lakshmi, to close.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, right. I see Manu with the guitar. I didn't put that together. Sure. Yeah. If everyone's okay with that, let's take a couple of minutes.
What we already shared earlier, normally after we have the session together, we like to end with Loka, Samasta, Sukino, Bhavantu, or like something to share the practice, to share the fruits of the practice. So let's sing together. Maybe Sheetal will put the lyrics.
I
Can
put
you
the
do that?
lyrics.
Yeah, perfect. We sing "May all beings." May all beings be well and happy. May all beings be free from strife. May all beings return to love. Peace be with you forevermore. May all beings be well and happy. May all beings be free from strife. May all beings return to love. Peace be with you forevermore. May all beings be well and happy. May all beings be free from strife. May all beings return to love. Peace be with you forevermore.
So beautiful. Thank you, everyone. And good night if you're in India.
Yeah. Thank you, Lakshmi, for
Thank you.
putting this
Yeah, I
together.
want to ask Kalashri to stop the recording before Kalashri.